everyone. Hello and welcome to PUPL Predictions Cast for week 4. This is MZ running the recording, posting the predictions, and I am today joined by 3 other yappers. We have Joe, Bouff, and Gulch. Say hello.
Hello.
Well,
You wanna say your name so people can associate like your voice sound with that with your name?
oh yeah, sure. I'm Boof. I'm managing the pranksters. Uh, yeah, that's about it, I think.
Gulch?
Uh, I'm Gulch. I'm managing the Snatchers, um, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm DDJoe. I'm managing the Dazzling Delphoxes, and I'm pleased with our performance thus far, and that's about it.
Wonderful, thank you. And I am MZ. I am a player for the Haunters. Yeah, thanks, guys. I don't know if you guys have watched the Smogon YouTube channel with all the like the SPL coverage. They have those like fancy overlays where it just actually showed you the icons and who's talking. I don't got any of that, so
We can talk to Ming later. He knows how to do that.
nah, that sounds complicated. I just want to do some predictions. Okay, we're gonna start from the top, I guess. Just work our way down. We have one person involved in every series. You might get a biased side of those series, but like more than 4 people seemed like a lot, so I did not bother asking other people. Goobers versus Foxes. So this is fun because it is the number 1 and number 2 teams. The Goobers 3 wins so far. The Foxes 2 wins and 1 tie. Let's start with SV because that seems like the most interesting one to predict for.
Agree? Sure.
So we got Sifis and Suzuka right at the top of the bill. Honestly, this is probably, at least personally for me, a pretty big highlight matchup. I will say that there is you could definitely call into question some of Sufis's wins, not based on how he's been playing, but just about the fact that it's arguable that his opponents have kind of phoned it in.
I wouldn't even say it's arguable. I think that's just true. I mean,
Yeah,
100%. He's got a 2-1, and wins on Fish and Sinnoh are very good. But yeah, I think that's unquestionable, and I think I would also say the same for Suzuka. I think they've both put up really strong records. I've liked their teams. I'm not saying they're doing bad. I just think their opponents haven't put up the most.
I will say though, I think overall also Suzuka does have the extra win, and I think it's her, wins have also just generally been more impressive. Like Metallica Ziri Vulpix is especially coming straight at the gate for your first, PUPL. That's a tough run, and it's gone pretty well.
Yeah, no, I've
yeah,
been
I
really impressed.
agree. I've
Sorry,
been
go on.
looking at. Oh, sorry, were you saying something?
No, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, okay. So I was looking at their replays. They seem pretty solid. This is Suzuka, right? Or are we talking about
Yeah,
Sufis? Sorry.
we're talking about Suzuka.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Suzuka, I've liked their teams. I mean, they're standard-ish, but that's fine. I know they beat Ziri, who had that Trick Room team with Executor Lola and Glastrier, and then last week, they
Last
beat
week,
Vulpix,
last week
who's
they hacked
very strong.
Vulpix. Like that was just
Oh,
not.
they got lucky.
They dodged a play rough. They got some perfect scald burns. They got a very important roll. Like
Okay.
it was all a little like I don't think they played bad, but it didn't look like they were going to win until they got some like really useful stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. I'm looking at this replay. It seems Vulpix brought Tauros, and that didn't OHKO the goal work. I'm assuming that's banned, right?
Yeah, if that's
Because I'm looking at that.
Noble Golurk, that's like a 90% roll to Oko, and it didn't. If that has some bulk, it might be less. There's that. There's the skull burns. I think the really important thing was just like a dodged play rough really
Hmm.
put it out of reach. God,
Yeah.
if we're already spending this long on one game, that's gonna take forever. I think both of them have had like pretty good runs. I really like to see what they're both using. I don't hate what's coming from either. Um, but I would be very interested to see. I think where the Goobers and the Foxes are right now is that they are both the teams that like other people have been throwing into. I'm not watching them and going like they're clearly just that much better. I'm watching them and going, they're not choking and their opponents are. And now that they're both fighting each other, I wonder if one of them is going to like take on that mantle or we're just going to get like a good solid set. I'm personally going to lean Sufis for the more interesting teams that I think might do well into the like more generic stuff Suzuka's been using, but this is pretty 50-50 and we can just go with a consensus.
Uh,
Let's
I'm
say
fine with.
I already made my post. I bolded Suzuka. Just you gotta get don't bet against China in there somewhere.
I would say, because I haven't said anything yet, and it is my player, I would say Suzuka is extremely good, but so is Sufis. I really think this one comes down to who rolls the better matchup on the day, to be honest. So I don't think either player has a clear advantage in terms of skill. I think they're both very good. I couldn't really say. I obviously want Suzuka to win. I'm prepping Suzuka, so I want Suzuka to win, but I don't know.
We can always just bolt
Uh,
versus. I've been trying not to do that for my personal ones, but if it's this and we don't have a strong opinion, we can just say,
I do
I
think
did
they're
like.
really creative, so
Yeah, I did like Sufis the Terra Water Jolteon last week that pulled it through against Toan, right? I did like that a lot. That week
Yeah,
one game versus Drip, I remember I was like, because it was against my team, and I was freaking out because in the game discussion because we were losing, and then somehow Bruxish with Swords Dance brought it back, and honestly, I need to look at the replay again. I don't know if that was a result of Sufis just fucking up,
it was a
but
choke. It was a choke. Yeah, he could have
I
won that
guess I
game. I think.
can. I guess I'd give it to Suzuka. They won the seasonal too, right? Against
yeah.
Eternally.
They won seasonal.
yes.
Yeah, they
Okay.
cheesed eternally in final with terrain.
Yeah, I'd give it to Suzuka then.
Okay, let's do that then.
And speaking of winter
Etern,
seasonal, we have the other finalist.
yes, Etern Dunox. So Dunox is also at 2-1, and Etern is at a 1-2. Finally picked up a win last week. Uh, I generally would rate Etern higher, and despite the better record, I'm just not like as high on Dunox. I think their wins haven't been that impressive, which not being their fault totally, they should have been. Um, but the fish game was very stupid, and I have a hard time going like, well, that suggests big things for Dunox.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
Dunox, bro. I'll say it. I think Dunox's team was actively pretty bad, and it happened to have a very good matchup into Tailwind. But I really did not like that team, and it makes me worried about what they'll be bringing. I thought it sucked. Like,
My thing with
Honest.
Dunox is that he's kind of like really coin flippy on if he's gonna try hard or not. And when he try hards, he's really good. And when he's kind of just like, laid back, hands off about it, he could go either way. And again, with the whole thing, like we said with Sophus, you've got some opponents who have kind of phoned it in, like the game versus Fish, where he brought a not amazing team and then won anyway because Fish wasn't really super try harding. It just it does bring the record into question a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think as long. Sorry, we've gone again.
Oh, go on. Don't worry. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I think um, Dunox is a very good player. I think he can win against anyone as long as he, as you said, Gulch is really trying and really wants to win. But it also depends on him loading something solid and strong. So we're gonna hit him out with something solid, I think, this week. Not to reveal anything, or we might not. You never know.
I I, I
But
think
I
he is.
think Dunox can beat Etern at the moment. I think Etern's on bad form, and his teams I think have been very unconvincing up until this point.
Yeah, I was gonna toss in. I think he has either like his own affinity or you guys have been passing him. Just like consistent gimmicks. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but there was the talk spam team without resists to like half the tier. There was the most grassy terrain a grassy terrain team has ever been. I think it was literally like five grassy seeds, like not and a thwacky. And then there was week one, which was like not the same level of overt gimmick, but it had like some T-Wave Espeon stuff. It was using like Sandaconda for no apparent reason. Like I don't know what it is. I think he's a very good pilot. It's just these teams have been whack. Uh,
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's fair. With oh, sorry, you saying something?
no, go for it, go for it.
Yeah, I agree. Like especially on the grassy terrain. I don't know. Maybe it's like just me, but I feel like when the drops first happened, I know there were some concerns about terrain and all that, but honestly, it's only been brought like what once, and it was that game versus Piyush, and it kind of sucks. I don't know. And like you mentioned earlier with the week three team, that had an amazing matchup against Tailwind, but a lot to be desired defensively. On the other hand, I did like Eternally's. He brought Venomoth last week, right? If I
Yeah,
remember,
Specs
like with
Venomoth.
specs. Yeah, that was really cool. I like that kind of risk and the builder like Eternally's willing to kind of explore uncommon mons like that. I that's something I can appreciate. So for that, I'd probably just give it to him. Even though Dunox is very good, I feel like Dunox is like kind of a sleeper pick in a way. That's how I felt about him over the past year, but he got retained, so evidently not, I guess. But I feel like what was mentioned earlier, he could take on anyone and have a decent shot. So
I'll
it's
say he had a
kind of
pretty good seasonal
close-ish.
run, didn't he?
yeah,
Yeah,
Dunox was I want to say top four, but at least top six in seasonal.
I
I'll
think
say,
he was
but
top
he
four.
made a
Yeah,
deep run either way.
Yeah. Um. So I don't know. Like Dunox has the record, but it sounds like we like Etern's losses more than Dunox's wins.
Yeah,
But if Dunox
Yeah,
just
honestly.
loads
I'll
something solid,
disagree.
but
But
if
you can
Dunox
bold
just
it
loads
down. That's
something
fine.
solid, I think he could do like fine. I just think the gimmicks have been like not it. And the fact that he's 2-1 is like kind of impressive with them. Uh, I'm inclined to bold a turn here, but
Yeah,
Go for
I'm
it.
fine with that. I think that's
yeah.
fair.
I
there's
think
always
that's fair.
I do like that with there's always going to be one person who's going to have to hit the short end of the bias. So sorry, Joe. Looks like you're outvoted on this one. Okay.
No, no, all
Wow.
good.
Has it already been 15 minutes for two games? I always say we're going to go
Jesus.
faster. We never do. Okay. Hiko versus 691. These are some players who have also been putting up some solid records. 691 has a 2-1 right now. Hiko has a 2-1 right now. They both have some wins against like one at least one like good player. So I think it just comes down to who's like team and performance we're feeling more.
I want to mention Hiko has loaded the exact same team structure for 3 weeks in a row at this point. It has been Rhydon, Florges, Alolan Sandslash, and it was Wochian twice, and then Hisuian Decidueye the third week, but some grass type, and then two fillers. He has loaded the exact same goddamn balance structure for 3 weeks.
I have
Yeah,
not
with
been
that,
noticing that.
um, I remember like because I was playing Hiko week one. I remember the night before I was like kind of dicking around prep. I didn't do a whole lot, but I was like, there's a non-0% chance he might just load something that or Eternally was using an open. And a team preview, I recognized the team immediately. And like what was mentioned before, Hiko loads like the exact same kind of thing. And that's fine if it works. I feel like maybe people aren't that good at prepping against that, or maybe it's just consistent enough to where it doesn't really mean anything anyway. With 691, he did bring versus two third this team. I think it's like that team that Mind Gaming has been using a lot in open. Like I recognize the Bombardier, the Toxic Cobra, Slowbro, the Decidueye. I didn't reveal it in his game versus Toother, but I think in the open set it was like SD, Spell Tag, Terrago, Shadowclaw. I guess I kind of like 691's builds a little more, and if Hiko's just gonna keep using the same Sand Slash balance structure, which is fine on its own, if like you're really confident you can pilot it and you pull a fine matchup, then it can work. But I guess I rate 691 a little higher, even though Hiko did win that money tour, right?
Yeah, he
Yes.
beat Solwyn to win that too.
Yeah, that's respectable on its own. So I
But I do
guess
want to say about prepping into the matchup. There, like, I mean, I guess there's always going to be that nagging feeling, like in the back of your head, that's like, oh, what if this is the week that they switch it up? But like, I mean, last week I sent Floss in with Hisui and Sneasel, and we loaded like the perfect matchup. And like, he tossed it, but still,
hmm
Yeah, that was a nice
uh,
bring.
yeah, I'm
I
fine
don't know.
giving
I
it
just,
a 691 here. I don't know if you
yeah,
guys.
Yeah, I'll just give very quick thoughts. Yep. We know Hiko's really, really, really good. A really good clicker. 691 is also really good. And he's a really inventive builder. I'm not going to reveal our game plan. You can highlight who you want.
that's. I think Hiko definitely needs to shake it up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, there are ways to abuse structures like the ones he's using, to be honest. And I think if people knew he was going to bring that every week, they would have been abused already. But I'm not going to say anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty 50-50 on these two. I'm not like super high or low on them both. I'm fine with just loading 691. SS, can we just bold OBB and move on? I
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I
yeah,
I asked if that Shinodik was trolling last week. Apparently it was, but they won the week at that point, right?
yeah.
So it
That
really didn't
game
matter.
didn't really matter except for our
Yeah.
differential.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was
Yeah,
their
so
loss.
that's fine then. Blush? Is
Blush.
it Blush or Biosh? I can't even see I
I
can't
think
even
it's
tell.
Blush.
It's
He's
Blush.
Yeah.
fine. I don't know.
They've had one
I don't
game.
think he wins
They've
here.
so for what they've had one game, they loaded terrain. We knew they were going to load terrain. We gave Ming the perfect counter team. He completely threw. Blosh didn't like do anything notable to win that. He just had his opponent throw at him. And then I played him for SS Cup this morning, and he also like just kind of threw and lucked me. Like it's just like he's probably okay, but there's nothing I've seen that would make me bold him over OBB, who is, top SS player, very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
pretty
fine.
good.
I
Like
mean,
1-2,
went
surprisingly.
1-2, although he did troll in one of the games, but I still like it. Like his one win is Gum versus Blosh's 1-0 into Ming completely throwing at him. Yeah, I think OBB is still looking better here.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I
BT Boy,
I
wait,
I had
Terra
no idea who this other person was until like a week ago. So,
yeah.
yeah.
He did. I think he qualified for ladder tour playoffs too. But
Did he did?
BT Boy versus Terracotta. This is very interesting. Terracotta has not played yet. He's going into SM, which Del Foxes have been kind of switching around a bit. There was Tom Holland in SM, and then last week there was
Yeah.
it
Hacker.
was
That's right.
Hacker. I'll
There
say,
was
is Hacker
Hacker.
busy or?
Hacker playing the worst
Uh,
game I have
explain later.
ever. The Hacker game is going to be the worst game of this entire tournament. I don't think anything's going to top it. It's just like that sucked. Uh,
Yeah, that to watch that was a little bit heartbreaking, to be
yeah,
honest.
the SM from Foxes. Are you guys 0-3? I'm switching people
We
up.
are.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's
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 it's our
zero.
it's our weakest slot so far.
Yes. Whereas BT Boy took a week one win versus Gondra due to getting a Stone Edge crit and then lost the next 2 weeks with like teams in play that I didn't hate into me and Sugar Ovens, who I think were like the top two seeds here. So like not the worst two losses to take, but like
I also do want to give him credit for last week. Sugar just loaded HJAD Spike, and BT Boy loaded what was pretty much like mono lose to Clefairy, and it was still a close game.
I've forgotten the game already. Yeah, like I haven't hated him, but I'm not super impressed. And Foxes should, in theory, have like a fine SM slot. Like they should be okay, and they're just not at all. So I don't know. This is like not not good.
It just kind of a mid off.
You
Yeah.
could coin flip it if you wanted to. Like
Well,
I don't
I,
really
I will
care.
I
say
don't really think that we're gonna reach a decision either way.
I will say Terracotta is a very good builder, and he has been playing. Well, he played mostly during the SM era, and he knows the mechanics of SM very well. Uh, I think people don't really know him in PU, but he's a good player.
I do. But he likes to go wacky. He's
Wacky's
a bit
working.
of an odd builder here. I don't know. We can just bold
Wasn't he the
versus.
guy in Love Tour that loaded the Mono Fire team?
Yes.
God, I think so. Yeah, he
If he
does that.
did that, then why we could bold him for that. I can
Yeah,
respect
yeah,
that.
sure. We'll throw him
Fine.
bones.
Bold terracotta just for no. That fine. Whatever. I don't actually, but it's funny. So, Ishtar versus Fiend. This is another kind of weird one. Ishtar is 2-1 now, but with some like weird games. Similarly, Fiend is 3-0. And like I was looking through Fiend stuff and man, if last week wasn't another like you just got handed a win, like that was,
I say
you know,
God hates TSR.
uh I don't know. Like I'm not like both these players are not doing like well at all, but I'm not like as huge on either of what they've been doing as the record suggests. They both just had like very, very weird games. And if two very weird players go into each other, I don't know what to call it.
I would say like Ishtar's game last week, it was entirely playable down to the end, and then Ruffles got hit with that double full para, and it just stopped being a game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with Ishta here, mainly because, and this is like, I mean, I guess this is related to Pokemon, but I did mention this during the draft, but Fiend PM'd me, like, right as the auction was starting, just get me, bro, you know, no justification whatsoever, and he did that pre-draft too, and this isn't the first time he did that, and just off that, I don't ever want to bold him. I haven't even watched his games, but that's like you don't do that, and I'm not gonna lie, Fiend's not good enough to be doing something like that. So
I think if I had to honestly evaluate them, I would say I've liked Fiend's teams more, but I've liked Ishtar's play more. I think Ishtar's also been mildly luckier. Uh, I'm kind of inclined to give it to Ishtar then.
oh, I think the R is silent in her name. I think.
Ishtar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
You
so.
sure that's not just how you say it with a British accent?
Maybe. Uh,
I don't know.
I'd say
Is it
I
either
don't know if
way,
it's like an actual thing or if it's like just an elaborate bit.
yeah, I'm not 100% sure either, but I'm gonna assume
no, I mean
it's
this is
true.
also a name that's like from and used in a lot of different things. So maybe one of those things pronounces it a different way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
BW. I don't think we even need to discuss the bold on that one.
Yep. Let's get on with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Yeah.
that.
Sure. Someone needs to stop this guy from being sub Mightyena. I don't even remember what he did week 3. Just that's still the only thing in my head.
What are you?
MZ, MZ.
He got
Wait,
Hold
I'm
on.
kidding. I'm
LPC
kidding.
got unlucky, didn't
Oops.
he? I literally didn't even watch the game, but I think I saw him like say something about getting unlucky in the PU Discord, and
Tack got
he's
something.
if he's complaining, he's probably right. I don't know.
I'm gonna check again. Tack definitely did get something. It wasn't like the most egregious luck, but it was like pretty. Oh no, it was okay. LPZ brought a Zwilus, and then like nothing went right for the Zwilus, and Tack got to keep his Torterra like 80 times because it kept it because LPZ just kept like missing it. Um,
oh, so LPZ just missed a bunch of fucking Dragon Tails.
Yeah,
crunches.
so Tech got
A
lucky. Okay.
bunch of
Yeah.
hustle crunches did not work out for him, and that like probably would have changed it, but it wasn't even enough to be like, oh, he definitely would have won with it. It was a bit early for that. Ara TJ, I have definitely liked TJ more. It doesn't seem like he's really missed a step here, but Ara has somehow ended up with a 3-0 right now.
Yeah, I that's kind of surprising to me because I didn't see Nara play in like I don't know like 3 years or something. So and TJ's if he cares he's gonna do very well. So and he is doing very well. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't
they're
know. I
both
just think
3-0, don't get me wrong.
TJ's wins
It's
feel a lot more earned.
Yeah, I would say ours had some bailouts in their games, to be honest. Whereas TJ has kind of just grafted and won through skill in every game. So
well, it, I wouldn't say like pure skill. I don't think he's like robbed anything that like wouldn't have been won, but he's definitely had like I think both of them have been on like the beneficial end of some RNG stuff. Like last week, TJ
yeah,
probably like TJ probably would have been at least even into Charmria, but like some early stuff definitely like completely screwed Charm. I remember that. But yeah, I agree. I think TJ's wins have just been like better.
yep,
yeah, fine with that then.
Yeah.
Parpar Orist. Orist has one win, and that was from Freezing Lily. Like, I don't think they've been looking very good. I kind of expected a lot more from them going into this, and they have not looked very good. And Parpar is 1-1 and hasn't done very much
Parpar
either.
has also been up to some burglary though in his
That
one
week
win.
one game versus Violet River, I literally told like my players after week two like no more Sunday late night gaming because we our luck is not good at that specific time. I wanted to like throw something at the wall, not literally, but like that par versus Violet game was
It
insane.
was bad.
God, I totally forgot. I thought this game was somebody else, but now I would check back and yeah, these are both players that have one win. That's just absolute robbery. Good lord. Uh,
I
I
mean,
will
I
say, oh sorry, go
personally,
on.
I was just gonna say, I would personally give it to Orist off of more games played, but
I don't think that's a good
I
thing.
don't know.
Not with how not with what they've been showing up with. I would, if anything, off
I
the amount of games played, I'd give it to Parpar.
I'm fine giving it to par, and I will say ADVPU I feel like is one of the more luck based tiers in this tournament. I don't know, especially as of late, but
Yeah, there's just a lot of like paralysis bullshit, a lot of
hmm
things carrying ice beam, just
There's been a
a
lot of
lot of
phases.
stupid
spam is
random
just
bullshit that can go wrong.
Yeah.
yeah, I think Parpar is gonna utilize his luck well, I guess. So because you can get lucky and play like shit, but I don't think Parpar is exactly gonna do that.
Hmm. Okay. Seraphs versus Tom Holland. I'll start because I know I'm gonna get flamed for this. Tom has been looking pretty bad. He was playing bad in SM, and he got pretty lucky to win his best of 3 set. And boy, if he doesn't turn it around, I have like no faith in how he's playing right now. Like I know he's capable of more, but
So
yeesh, that if that's your one win and that's like how that's what you need to get that one win, I am not a fan.
I
And
say compared to Seraphs, who wins both of his first 2 weeks, loses to Lax after a kind of scuffed SM game, takes it to game 3.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
don't get me wrong, Seraphs also did kind of luck Doug, but like their individual games and stuff have looked way better. I don't know what's going on with Tom, like at all.
say, especially because Tom's SM games were genuinely kind of painful to watch, like the one versus Rob where he had his Masharna fully set up and then falls for the most obvious bait in the world when Rob goes for the Debon Quillfish.
Yeah, we were a bit sad about that one.
Yeah, it's
I'll
not.
say Tom is a good player, but he is struggling a bit at the moment with his timer. I think that's the problem, is that he lets his timer run really low, and then he panics. And I think if he can manage his timer better, he'll play a lot better because he is capable of playing really well, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
Mhm. So that leaves us bolding the Gudras 6-4. They are the team with the better record right now, so there's that. We also have them winning despite giving this coin flip to Terracotta because he brought Mono Fire. But we'll see. It still seems like a reasonably close series that either could take. Um, I just think this
it's a good
kind of
one.
got to keep being a thing for the Foxes because they don't have the initial star power, and despite their records, when a lot of your wins are from the other person throwing at you, it's really good to be consistent, but it makes it hard to bold you. You know what I mean? Like they've been the hardest team to predict every week. All right,
Yeah.
Snatchers Kingpins. We can speed this up a little bit. Sinnoh versus Tony. Tony is 0-3, although he did only lose last week to a full para off a T wave, and Sinnoh just doesn't appear to be trying very hard at all. Like
Yeah, I think Tony's due for a win because I like his brings though. I think until like last week, I don't think he brought a fairy resist in either of his two games. Maybe it wasn't him, but I know someone on the Kingpins was just not bringing Forgeous resist at all, and that is not something you should be doing whatsoever in this
I can
tier.
check real quick. I will say though, like Tony's just been really ratcheting up the gimmicks, and if anybody has their handle on like here's what a weird team looks like, here's what you can do against it, I kind of feel like maybe even not putting in a lot of effort, Sinnoh might just like be better there. Also, yeah, Tony has not been running fairy resist. Literally his first 2 weeks, no fairy resist uh at all. The most
I
fairy
mean, I
resist is
thought
like a Milotic.
I don't know.
Tony's
Yeah,
I
like
I
think
don't know.
bring. Mm.
I
Oh,
think
sorry,
it's
go ahead.
also partly Tony's brain is probably just elsewhere right now. He's probably focused on NUPL playoffs at the moment.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, right.
Well,
That's
that's over
definitely a
now.
thing.
No, we're out. We last week we got hacks like every single game. We didn't
oh
get to,
damn,
we
that
didn't get to play like a
sucks.
single game. Like none of anything that happened mattered. It was awesome. Even the one game we won, we should have just like completely swept them, and then they crit our setups. They crit our sweeper that was just gonna auto win, and then we had to like barely clutch it out anyway. Like it was gross. But anyway, that's over. That we'll see more Tony. I'm kind of inclined to bold Sinnoh here.
I think okay. I
Um,
think Sinnoh's skill floor is higher, but given that he's not really putting in maximum effort here, and Tony is now apparently no longer preoccupied, he might lock in. And like Boof said, I do think he is due for one.
yeah, he just needs to stop fucking around in the
He
builder, I
needs he
guess.
needs to quit fucking around.
I mean, we did only beat him because of a pair, so I don't want to say it's been all bad, but
I was to
if you're
say,
not running a fairy resist in the tier where Florges is like a top three Pokemon, then I
I
don't know.
mean,
You
hey,
you
the
have
one
you have
game
more
he almost
confidence
won
in
is the
your
one
play
where he
than
had
I
a
do.
fairy resist. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I do think Tony brings some really cool builds though. And if he really decides to bring something solid and great, maybe he can nick a win here. I thought last week's team was kind of like fish light, the tailwind variant.
I don't like the tailwind. Didn't work for Fish. Should have worked for Tony, but I'm just not a fan of it.
It's just super fishy, in my opinion.
Yeah. So hang on, who does it leave us going with? I forgot who I was going to bold.
Let's go Sinnoh, I think.
Yeah, Sinnoh's fine.
Okay. Oops, that's B, not Command B. Floss Metallica. Both of these players are ones who we've seen better from and are not looking good. Metallica has an 0-3. Floss has a 1-2 with honestly an okay win against Drip. Like not a terrible win there, but have not liked how Floss has looked in the games he's lost. Um,
I guess like how Tony's due for one. Metallica is definitely due for one. I will say we did hacks the shit out of them last week, but I think we had
Yeah,
a chance even if we didn't. Like I think we probably could have won that.
there
So
were
it
like
wasn't
what
like
two separate freezes in that
yeah,
game.
yeah, one on the Cramorant, one on
oh, that
the
was that one, yeah.
Delphox.
Yeah,
He just
see,
didn't get to
she
play.
even said in her win post, this was not a game. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was brutal. That was a brutal game to watch.
Yeah. Oh, right. And that was the game where C led Embor, which did 55 to a regen mon, and that was the most the Embor did.
I think it
Pretty
did
fun.
better in testing, I guess.
What
It
a
always
terrible.
does.
I don't
I've
know.
always been an Embor hater. Like I just think it's really bad. I'm not gonna
So
lie.
I do agree. Metallica again, probably due for one. I believe our Kingpin isn't Kingpin's SV completely winless, like over the core entirely.
Wait, complete.
Yeah,
No way.
it's
No
the
way.
only ones who have won, or the
That's
only one who's
crazy.
won is ZS has won 2 SV games, I think, and I think that's it.
Whoa, you're right. Lure,
So yeah,
Tony, and
Kingpin's SV
Metallica.
is 09.
Jesus
Who's
Christ.
building their teams, do you think? Do you think they're all doing it themselves?
Blur's,
Metallica is definitely building his own shit. Lure's
yeah,
definitely building his own
Yeah,
shit.
they're
Tony
all
is
built
probably building his
I
own
don't
shit.
know. It's fine. We can give it to Metallica here, but I didn't realize it
I
was
think
the
so.
case.
I'd say
If
I just
Metallica
can't
plays up, it'd be a
imagine
great
because like
team.
if he does lose this week, Metallica, unless Kingpins make playoffs, which is not looking super likely at the current moment, uh, that's a negative season right there.
It's doable. Only the Lakers are like in a place where I'd
The
say it's
Lakers are the
not
only ones like
super
in
likely because
danger.
we have Lakers have 1 point, but then we have three teams with 3 points, which is enough for fourth place right now. So like there's difference on BD and stuff. But
Yeah,
only the Lakers are like that far behind. Kingpins can absolutely do it. We can give it to Metallica. Amp versus Lore though, I've been a Lore believer. They've played into three pretty tough opponents, but it's not looking too hot, and more inclined to give this to Ampha, despite only being 1-2, with their one win just being like a stupid Jolteon sweep. I've kind of liked their losses a little bit more.
yeah.
I did not really watch Lure's first 2 games in depth. I played him last week, and that game was a game that happened. I especially don't want to talk about what happened at the end, but
Yeah.
um, I know he's capable, and honestly, if I had to choose like who has the better ceiling, probably Lure. I don't know, like Ampha. I guess I've watched more Ampha games and I've played him more, and he's lost more. So yeah, I just give it to Lure. If he builds something good, he'll win.
I say Lure's first game was he kind of just he loaded mono psychic resist Zoroark into Hoopa Delphox and then got a lot of really crucial early game calls wrong. He almost did bring it back with a SD Hisuian Decidueye, but it was apparently Sash Hoopa, so it didn't actually matter regardless. And then second week was when PDT brought the Muck Kuno stall for the first time, and he got waxed by that.
Yeah, I'm happy to go Law if he brings a good team, basically.
I would go Ampha. I think we're putting a bit too much on the Kingpins with how their SV's been going so far. Sounds like I'm
Yeah,
outvoted,
that's
but
fair.
Fair
with the
enough.
fact
Fair
that
enough.
they're
We can go Ampa.
0-9, I don't. I keep hitting the wrong button to bold stuff. We can bolt there. I don't know. Strap to Nebrasite. What a weird one. Strap through week 1. I don't even remember week 2 and 1 week 3 because OBB was trolling. And Tenebrasite is just kind of like a sub who fills in wherever is needed and did pick up a DPP win and did not look particularly good versus Gum and SS, but it is Gum. Uh,
Straps week 2, it was a really long, hard fought game versus Gum.
sure. I do rate Strap a bit higher, but if anyone has like strong feelings.
I mean, the
Yeah,
thing for Strap is I
No,
also
no.
think that for this pool, he has had the hardest first 3 weeks you could ask for.
who did he play week 1?
DJ. It was DJ into Gum into OBB.
Oh, okay.
That's true.
Yeah,
He has
yeah,
had
I agree with that.
the top three of the pool as well. All right, let's give it to Strap. Sugar versus Rob Jr.
This is a good matchup.
This is a good
I would
matchup.
lean Sugar probably. I don't know why. I just think Sugar's on a high right now. He's playing really well. Um, I think, yeah, I would just gut instinct go Sugar.
I'd give it to Rob, but also I feel like I am incredibly biased towards Rob in like 80% of matchups in most tiers. He's one of those players that I have a lot of blind faith in, and he's 3-0 right now, so
Yeah, I agree. Rob is definitely just that guy. My only caveat here is I do think, like, we've seen that players like Sugar and Esta, who tend to bring these wackier, like, more unorthodox builds, are the kinds of players in this pool that Rob tends to struggle with. So it is entirely possible that Sugar gets the win on that, but also again, Rob is so incredibly good and consistent at what he does.
Yeah. I'll also say for Rob, he's had a relatively easy 3-0 with who he's run, which isn't something you can do about, and he's looked good in them.
There
But
was
he's played
Tom
Tom
into
and Tom and
PTF into Grey
PTF.
Bomb.
Tom and PTF were not playing well at all. Like they have not been bringing their best, and then there's Grey Bomb who like had a respectable fight, and then Rob was just better, I think. There's nothing you can do about that if you're just kind of giving easy stuff. Like the matchup that Rob had just made very easy. The players Rob has had to play has made it easier on him relative to Sugar, which is why I'm less focused on record. But if y'all are Rob believers, I do not mind bolding Rob in either case.
Go Rob. Go Rob.
Ruffles Lighthouse. Hmm. So Ruffles has, hang on, so nope, wrong one. Lighthouses is 2-1 and has been like fine. I think they've gone to Oras fine. I'm not like, wow, they're really, reinventing Oras, but I think they've been fine. And that's more or less also what I have to say about Ruffles. I don't know what people were expecting. They've been okay.
Ironically, if you scroll up to the matchup in the above series, you've got their victims, right? Or not? You get what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The people who
Fiend,
fucked them over.
the people who
Lighthouses.
beat them in
I beat
some lucky
Ruffles.
Yeah.
games as well. Yeah, like I'm pretty 50-50 on them. I think they've both been okay. I'm not like, wow. I'm not like, eh.
Yeah, I agree. I've not been particularly impressed with either player so far.
Same. I mean, I think I'm not. I'd have to watch it again because I know the game with Lighthouses and Fiend was close, but also the Ruffles Ishtar game was also pretty neck and neck up until that ending.
Yeah, but honestly, with the team Ishtar brought, it shouldn't have been neck and neck. I don't. I think that was the weakest team Ishtar's used. I didn't like it.
Which
The,
team
the,
was it? Was that the Crocorock team?
No, it
no, it
was
was like five NFEs. It was like Clefairy, Tangela, Vibrava, Mischievous, like one of those teams
Oh
with
yeah, yeah. That was a strange team. It
like
was
all
strange.
the little mons, which like
like
has
kind
things
of
it can do. Yeah,
Superman
yeah. It was
almost.
Vibrava, Clefairy, Tangela, Missy, and then a Volturn core of Ninjask and Rotom Frost. And I get it, and I get why you do that, and I get how it can work, and that matchup for it was fine, but those kinds of
I'll say
teams
because Ruffles brought
have some
spikes the first
weaknesses.
2 weeks, so
He did. Well, that is a team that's good in the spikes. I'll give it that.
I'll say yeah. So okay, yeah, it makes sense that she would Superman then.
Hmm. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this. Anyone have a
I
strong
have
feeling?
no
Or...
opinion on it.
Just VS it. VS it.
Sure. Tack Avarice. Tack has an LPZ win, and Avarice has just been looking pretty good. Is Avarice undefeated? I need to check that.
I
He
think
Yeah.
is.
so.
He is.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Although it was Tizio, Neomon, and then Pranksters sub in for Excel.
Yeah,
Right.
we had
Okay.
to sub Lydius in because Excel had something come up.
Avarice is undefeated against some weaker slots, whereas Tack is 3-0 with actual Excel and LPZ wins. Seems like a
I think we can
Tack
go.
bolt to me.
Yeah,
So
I think
I think this is
Tack's a
pretty
great
clear
player.
tack.
Yeah, and Tack's more PU focused, right?
Hmm. Yeah, he's good at this meta. This is a funny one with Laurel and Django, two very old players who have not been doing so hot.
Yeah, I feel like Django kind of had a really good DPPL, and that's why he's in this slot right now. And I don't know if his Steam's run out or he's kind of not loving the tier as much, but yeah, his performances haven't been as convincing as they were in that. But I just think it's his lack of experience in the tier showing. I don't really know Laurel's experience in TPPPU, so if someone kind of has some insight into that, that would be
Laurel
useful.
is just a DPP OU like super old head.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, it's hard because if Django can play very well, if he brings a good team and gets a good matchup, he can win. But I don't know. It's really hard to tell with DPP in my opinion because it's just such a volatile tier.
yeah. I don't think any of us are the most DPP knowers either. And like I rate Django, but I also don't run in like the DPPOU circles where I'd get to see Laurel winning a lot. So
I think Laurel's like a better player overall, but I guess Janko knows the tier more. He last week I know because Frank was playing him. He T-waved the Loma choke and with Mischievous and it
right,
immediately
yeah,
exploded and it all just went downhill from there, which isn't like, his fault. I don't know if Loma choke is a thing.
it
I don't really know much
is.
DPP,
I
but
asked about it. I
Lum
checked.
is
It's a
very
known
common, very
thing,
common.
and that whole
Machoke
game was
running
like
HP is not uncommon.
Yeah, it's normally the max speed sash or it's HP Lum. I think I'm not really.
Yeah.
yeah.
okay,
That
gotcha.
whole
All right.
game went like as bad as that game could have gone. Like he switched to Murkrow hard into a Sludge Bomb, got O-code. His Kingler just SD'd and then died doing nothing. Like it was not.
Yeah, it was
He
rough.
did miss a Stun Spore, and that was like it. And everything else was just like his stuff not working out. We can bold Laurel, I guess. I'm a Django
Yeah.
believer, but it hasn't been looking so hot.
Yeah, it feels like there's not like a lot of confidence for either, but like slightly more confidence for Laurel.
Hmm.
Like just barely.
Yeah, and I think on a personal level, Django, we're both from the UK. We talk a little bit. He did tell me that he feels he's been put in the slot mainly because of that DPPL performance, and that he's not a tier specialist, and it's not his most confident tier. So I don't really know if his head's properly in this tier. So yeah, I think Laurel's a good bet.
I mean, yeah, but he has script support, which is
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
Scripps is
very good
stretched pretty
support.
thin with all the tours we got going on. I don't know how much that's doing for him. All right.
don't get me wrong, he's a great.
We can go to Slade and Plague. Slade has been having. I do not remember either of their like any games either of them have been playing. Record wise, Slade is 1-2, losing to Violet and Sergio, and a win on Mielke. And Plague is 2-1, beating Orist and Mielke, and a loss to also Violet. So neither of these records particularly impress me, but I do not remember anything that's happened in either of their games.
I would go Plague here, just purely on their PUBD performance. They did pretty well against um, Orest in our game, and I don't think Slade's looked very good, frankly.
Yeah, I'm fine with Plague. I don't really got a strong opinion.
That seems totally fair. The only funny thing trying to scroll back the replays is Plague did bring Rain Dance Butterfree last week, Sleep Powder Rain Dance. I have no idea what the deal with that was. And then he just got like full parrot a bunch and had absolutely no chance to beat Violet. But also that team seemed silly. It was very weird. I don't know. I'd still go Plague. Just it was weird. Lax ZS is probably my personal highlight. Um, that's just these guys seem like they're gonna have a real fun matchup together. I think ZS has been looking pretty good. He had a respectable loss to Lenny, beat Drud, beat Ryan. Even if he's the first person to let Ryan take a game. Lax has been looking good. I've also liked what he's loading. Lost to Drud, beat Ryan, beat Seraphs. Um, I'm kind of tempted to lean ZS, but eh, I don't know.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just I think also you do have to take into account ZS's win that wasn't Drud was against Sensei Axu, which kind of
Well,
comes with a little bit of baggage.
they both have a Sensei Axu win. They both have one respectable loss. They both have one solid win, and then they both beat Ryan. That's it.
Damn.
Like pretty similar seasons. ZS's win is probably a bit better. I rate beating Drud um, and losing to Lenny. I rate a little bit higher than beating Seraphs and losing to Drud, but like, it really is pretty even.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it comes down to who brings the better teams in the day, to be honest. If ZS can bring something really solid, rather than something kind of insane in SV, then I think he should have the edge. But yeah, it's pretty even.
We could also bold verses and make it just like tied 4-4 with two coin flips.
Yeah,
Uh, sure. My
sure.
gut says ZS, but like whatever. I don't have a. This is
Okay.
like a lot of matchups in this series that I just don't really have a strong opinion on. Could go either way, and I only really have vibes to back it up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going like my ZS is just like a vibes thing. There's not a lot behind it. All right, we'll just call it a bit of an even series and move ahead to Haunters Mags, I guess. Starting with Vulpix versus Cuse. I'm just saying I like that for fun. Don't correct me.
Good
Uh,
matchup. Really good matchup. This will be a highlight, I think.
that will be fun. Yes, Cuse has had two okay wins on Floss and Metallica. Like looking, he's looked good, but neither of his wins have like been doing particularly well. Vulpix is 2-1. Took a like unlucky loss to Suzuka last week, but wins on Ziri in a turn. I think he's been pretty good. I think he's been coming back real strong, but I'm biased.
Uh, my gut says Cuse. I don't know. I feel like watching his games like is always enjoyable. So that's kind of part of it. But Vulpix might bring, like, strictly speaking, the better team, and he's probably the better player, but I have a feeling Hughes is gonna catch him off guard with some bullshit.
I would say I think it really just depends on like how hard Kios's bullshit lands this time around.
Yeah, right. It's if the kind of crazy combo of what he brings smashes or not.
Well, it is up to you guys. I'm not gonna be
I'm leaning
deciding the
Kios,
calls on my
to
own
be honest.
series.
I think
Yeah,
Kios is on a bit of a roll, so
He didn't play last week, did he? He's 2-0, but then he didn't
he
play week
subbed
3.
out.
no.
I forget
Oh
for
yeah, he
who.
got
It was
subbed.
Andy Boy, right?
He subbed out
Um,
for Andy Boy, yes,
was it? Yeah, yeah. You're right.
who did win. Maybe with the Q's team, maybe not. I don't know. Personally, I want to give it to Vulpix, but fine by me. We have Fish, Andy, Fish. Um, Fish is 1-2, and I know they would agree with this. They had a good win against PU week 1. Threw versus Sufis, gave that one away, and brought Tailwind into Dunox into just basically an unplayable matchup. Whereas Andy Boy is in that, like, he was in that sort of sub range, and then he subbed in, got a Taka win, which was like fine, but that's all he's done. He's just got that one game to his name so far.
Uh, I mean, I'm as biased as it can get when it comes to Fish. I believe in him for pretty much against pretty much anyone in this tier, but even though he's 1-2, like you mentioned, that game last week was unplayable, and I like his approach to the tier a lot. So I'm fine just giving it to Fish.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Fish will be feeling the pressure on his record, and when
Yeah.
he takes it
I
seriously.
think Fish has been kind of phoning it in, but also I do want to see a little more from Andy Boy because also didn't Taka have some kind of shitty luck last week too?
Yes, well, he did not manage to toot Kayla Salazzle with Red Bull, which is like an 87.5% chance. And he also loaded Sword Sands Quillfish into Terra Ground Water Absorb Lapras get owned.
Ooh,
Sounds like you guys want to give it to Fish. Fine by
yeah.
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Tooth or Scarf? Toother has one win where he subbed into best of 3 for Dugza and had a solid win there, and then lost last week um, to what felt like just like a really not a good matchup. That there wasn't like I wasn't part of that. It just seemed like that was kind of hard, and then some paras made it basically impossible after that too. Whereas Scarf has a solid 2-1, beat Sinnoh, beat Tony, lost to Ziri. I remember liking how they've looked, but don't really remember any of the games individually.
I think I'm gonna go Scarf here. I just think in terms of how good they are and the teams, I think the team Toother loaded last week was pretty bad. So I would just go based on that.
I did like Scarf's week 2 team a lot. The one with the Zorok and the Decidueye. I don't even know if I watched Toother's game last week. Oh, that was versus 691.
I did just
It was a
check.
pretty convincing 6-0. But it was I will admit it was a really bad matchup for Toother. They just couldn't break
Mhm.
the core.
It
So
wasn't going to be a 6-0 with no breaking if they didn't get like full parad on some really crucial turns. I don't think it was going to look good. It just wasn't going to look like as
yeah,
stupidly dominant as it was. That's all. I don't think it
yeah,
was
I,
going to
they yeah there was some misplays with getting rid of Salazzle as well and
move.
some other stuff. But yeah, I agree. The powers were very serendipitous.
The only flip side is that Scarfs last week, I think the team they loaded was pretty bad. That was
Yeah,
What
guys,
did they
please
load?
stop bringing Alchemy, please.
Alchemy, Brute
Oh, they
Bonnet.
brought an Alcremie.
Alchemy and Brute Bonnet are two uh,
The
uh,
fake man.
yeah, but
Groupon, it's not like super fake. Oh, sorry, go on.
if he doesn't do that, it sounds like you guys want to go Scarf, but Brute Bonnet is
Yeah,
absolutely fake. I don't think
like
you
I said, I think I said it verbatim in my post. As long as Scarf doesn't bring Alchemy again, he's fine.
Yeah, I just think Alcremie is now almost unviable.
So, I bet Boof was like about to say, Brew Bonnet's not like the most fake thing ever. Like it can work, but bringing it with alchemy is not the move.
Yeah, two mega slow boys is what I would say they
Yeah,
are.
you can't afford stuff like that in this tier unless you like pull a really good matchup.
Mm.
Agreed. It's just too slow.
So, Ming voices DJ is a real interesting one. Ming has an OBB win on the week that OBB, it seemed, did not super troll. Ming also completely threw a free win versus Blosh last week and had like a respectable loss to Lambo. Lambo is a respectable loss, but was also one where Ming just like didn't throw in the sense of like, oh, this is a free win if you didn't do that, but did throw in the sense of like it could have been fine and you really screwed up. He like had an unwallable magneton and hard switched it into a. Did he hard switch magneton into an earthquake? I don't remember. He hard switched magneton into. Yeah, he hard switched magneton into an aggron earthquaking when it was like completely unwallable. It's definitely been rough with the one exception of like a really good OBB win in the middle. Like, how do you even rate that? Two games where you like throw, and then one game where you beat OBB is really funny. And then is DJ just has people throw at him. Like he hasn't looked that good. He hasn't looked like he's been doing terrible. He's just been kind of getting given wins. Strap choked into him. Lambo didn't have a check for Claydol. I don't even remember what happened with Suzuya, but Suzuya hasn't been like doing that well this tour. Like this just kind of looks like someone who's been throwing versus someone who's been getting thrown at, which is worrying as someone who wants my team to win.
Yeah. I think based on play, apart from the obvious kind of mistakes, I think Ming can do it. I would say. I think DJ hasn't looked that convincing to me thus far. And again, like in that game versus Lambo, again it was like he just didn't have anything for the Claydol, yet he was kind of outplaying for most of the game. So I don't know.
Where does that leave you guys wanting to go?
I'm fine with Spitfire. I mean,
Yeah,
we were saying Ming through earlier, right? So
yeah. I
that's
was gonna
fine with
say he
me.
had like the matchup and then just kind of tossed and did nothing.
With Magneton both times, it was both games that Ming lost. He switched Magneton in when just not doing that, like should have made him be so much better. He can
Yeah, I'm
do it.
fine.
He has the OBB win, like a perfectly fine one. He won SS Cup, I believe. But yeah, weird matchup. Very funny.
Yeah, I think we just go
I think
Spitfire. I agree with
OBB
that.
said he threw into Ming. I think yeah, OBB said he just like screwed up in that game and should not have lost. He like played his steel volley bad, is what he said. I think. I didn't totally follow that. Okay, sounds like you guys want to go Spitfire. Me versus PDT. I will sit that one out, but just record wise, I am currently 3-0 with wins on Esterossa, BT Boy, and then the stupid hacker game.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
you're 2-0 with a gift, is what we're gonna say.
for this,
PDT is 2-1, having only played SV so far, but that's because the mags have been like struggling to figure out what to do with SM. PTF had two pretty bad losses in SM, and then instead they tried AJ, and he lost to Esterossa. Yeah.
um, honestly, I don't. As good as PDT is, I'm a big believer in him. I don't think I've ever seen him play a game of this tier, and he could probably pick it up. And he has Drud and PTF to help him, but
He's definitely played some because he had to he's best of three in like other PUPLs.
oh, you're right.
So I know
That
he's touched
completely
in
slipped my
some.
mind.
So
But yeah, I guess, I mean, you're 3-0 and you did well in PUBD. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I would say based on current performance that we can highlight MZ here.
Okay. TSR versus Killing Time. TSR is no, let's start with Killing Time. Killing Time is 1-2, but did pick up a Watashi win, which is nice. TSR also 1-2 with the Watashi win. I know because I'm on TSR's team that his losses have been a wee bit unlucky, but also like he even admitted himself after a bit of throwing versus Fiend. Um, I think Killing Times looks like kind of whatever. I don't know.
This one, this one hurts my heart a little because they're both Barclay guys, and I told them I would get them, and then we both got outbid. Don't think they liked that too much, but I think Killing Time. I mean, in pretty much any tier he plays, he likes bringing complete nonsense because he plays a lot better with Jank as opposed to whatever standard in this tier.
He's brought two
And
Go-Goats and he brought a Sand team last week.
yeah, yeah, like he's not afraid to experiment. I know TSR is good at this tier. Didn't really watch. I didn't watch the game last week versus Fiend, and I don't remember his week one game. So I guess just based off my goldfish memory, I'm just gonna give it to Killing Time.
You guys okay with it?
TSR's kind of been getting burgled in his losses, as tends to happen to him.
So TSR Killing Time. I know who I prefer, but again, I'm trying to stay out of it.
Killing
Yeah, I'll
Time.
give it to KT.
Yeah,
Okie dokie. Ty Carter versus Neomon. Ty Carter has a 2-1 right now, with his only loss being LPZ, which, you know, and Neomon has a 1-2, but did pick up a cow win last week. I don't even remember that game. What happened? Uh, I don't know. I'll check it out. What do you guys think?
I I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched any games from either of these players this tour, but I know Ty Carter has done well in other tiers he's played, and I know he's kind of a tryhard. So, and he has probably good support, right? He has you and Lily. I don't know how active Lily is in this tier, like in 2025, but I guess just based on skill ceilings, I definitely favor Ty Carter more.
Pecod, I've just watched their game, had a pretty convincing win over Cal last week as well. It was just, yeah, very nice.
Last week he played Tizio, and that was the game where you just like got an early crit that
Oh, sorry, I'm
ruined
looking at a
Tizio,
different
but
week.
also Tizio brought complete nonsense. He brought the Yamask slacking team, so I don't know if Ty
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if Ty really needed it.
Well, we did get kind of unlucky in that game, unfortunately.
Yes, it was like the luck just kind of ended it, but I don't know if Ty was gonna need it. I don't believe in that Tizio team at all, if you know what I'm saying. That's all. Like,
Yeah, keep stum.
sounds like you guys want to go Ty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Haysup is back. 0-0 so far. Hasn't had the chance to play. Just had a kid, but he is back and he's playing Beats Black, who went in, I believe, is the first top ranked player, but is so far 1-2. And I don't really think their losses were like bad luck as much as just like they kind of just lost. I'd have to actually check on that. I'm not 100% sure. But like he's had an unexpected bad start versus someone who simply hasn't played yet. No, wait, hang on.
Uh, Actually, you know what? Honestly, I don't have anything to say about either of these guys. I know I teamed with Beats Black and PUBD, and he has a good mind for the tier, but Hace Up is him in these lower tiers, right? Like, I feel like I teamed with him at PUPL a few years ago. I don't remember how we did, but he's definitely more experimental. And he Hazup to me is a player that knows how to make his opponents throw. And I guess if he has the time to really put in that prep here, I think he could probably make that happen.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think Haysup's
Yeah.
really good.
I agree on that aspect of like this really just comes down to if Haysup has the time for this.
Hmm.
Totally fair. Who do you want to give it to?
Guts says
Oh,
Hazup.
Guts
yeah, I'm
says
going to say
Haysup.
Haysup as well. Yeah.
Okie dokie. We have Lily versus Mielke. Lily is 2-1 with their loss last week to just getting totally frozen. But I want to say they got a bit lucky in one of their wins, but not like as lucky as just totally freezing them out. I don't remember. Mielke is 0-3 to Slade, Plague, and Please No Step. You guys want to bold Lily?
Let's go, Lily.
Yeah, to me, like even aside from Yelk's 0-3 record, Lily to me is the goat of this tier. She is pretty much the single, well, not the single, but she's one of the big reasons that my team won ADVPL last year. I remember because she went 0-2 to 7-2. She likes, trying to explore the boundaries of the tier each week. Like I remember she won in a tiebreak with Matt Cargo. She did well in PUBD, I believe. And if she's 2-1 here, then I don't really see her stopping. Because I know ADVPU is one of those tiers that Lily always is interested in playing. Like, her motivation for some other stuff, for other tiers, has been kind of waning. But if I remember right, but for ADVPU, it's just, always on, I guess always a priority for her.
Yeah, she's been doing pretty good. Sounds good to me. And then that leaves us with Drud and Dugza. Dugza is 0-2 to some pretty tough luck, and Drud is 2-1 with actually just some pretty good wins. Like, yeah, weird one.
Hard to separate these two, really.
Yeah. I mean, Doug's is probably better at SV. I really well he's played SSPU before, right? But I honestly could not tell you how he did there. And I know Drud is good at SMPU.
Doug's is
I
pretty
mean,
pretty big into SS. Definitely more of an SS guy than Drud, I think. But Drud is definitely the SF guy, relatively speaking.
Drud is the winningest guy on the sheet for a reason.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Like looking at the sheet, I mean, I know being a pure sheet looker isn't always the best thing, but he's like 25 win differential. Like, how do you even pull that off?
Mostly from
And
farming
also,
DPP.
didn't the
That a
majority of
lot
his
of that
points in
happened
circuit
before
last
he
year
was
come
in
from
best of
Bouff?
three when he was just like playing DPP and just being the guy who won that over and over. Even with Haste up around, like just still able to keep that differential.
Yeah, I don't know. I think,
I don't have a super strong opinion here. I
yeah.
honestly, sometimes it's funny to see Dougso lose, so maybe I'll give it to Trud.
Record wise, I think it's obvious who like this like Doug's has had some tough stuff in his losses, but still um the tie breaking factor I think would definitely be the 0-2 versus the 2-1.
Yeah, I say let's go Dread then, just purely based on record at the moment.
Which I'm
That's
still
fine
pulling
with
for
me.
Doug's. I totally think you can do it. I just think if you guys are feeling kind of evenish, that's probably the call there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's because Doug's is very capable, obviously, like especially over the past year-ish. I want to say he's just been, farming tour after tour. But if like we said, based off record, it's probably safe to go for Dread for now. But I wouldn't be surprised if Doug's at one.
Okay. So that has us predicting a 5-5 tie. We're going to go into the very end with Pranksters versus Lakers. We have C versus PU. C is 2-1, had like a good win versus a turn, tough loss to Sinnoh, and then just the freeze that made it not a real game into Metallica with a hyper offense team that I didn't really like, but whatever. You get two freezes, you can do whatever you want. And PU is 1-1. He had a fish loss. He beat Dunox, and then he just didn't play last week. Or did he sub? I'm not sure. They've both been okay, but I'm not like wowed.
There's some sriracha honey chicken.
What?
I would say PU to me looks more convincing right now, just based on performance.
Sure, fine. I don't know.
If anyone has any
Booth
thoughts, yeah.
is the one who put C in slot one for some reason. I really didn't think
Oh,
this was gonna be our slot one.
Yeah.
she wants to play the best players every single week, and I'm fine with that because I'm not ashamed to admit I don't mind from the best
I
player.
say I can confirm this. Booth approached me when we played and was like, "Oh, which slot is Hoenn gonna be in?"
Well, that I guess that's separate from the best player thing. I suck at playing Hoenn. I don't know. Like I knew that shit was not gonna go well for me.
Okay. We can give it to PU then, but yeah, this will be I don't know, a bit of a weird one. Boof Ziri. Boof is definitely 3-0. I know that off the top of my head. Ziri has been having a bit of a weird one too. Finally got a win last week against Scarf. When Scarf just brought a bad team and otherwise took like solid losses to Vulpix and Suzuka. I don't know. I know Ziri's like the recent circuit champ or whatever, but it does not look like they're having as much success in the best of one format. I would definitely be going pulling Boof here.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, Boof doesn't get to talk about that one. Drip
Yeah,
versus Story.
yeah. I'm sorry, my bad.
I said you didn't get to talk. What are you doing? Drip versus Stories. Stories has two wins into Kevin 691 and then lost to PDT. Oh gosh, that Kev one was very silly too. And whose story's playing? I already forgot. Oh yes, Drip. Drip, Drip, Drip. Where's Drip? I'm not doing so good with this last series. My brain's getting tired. And Drip is God damn, where is Drip? There we go. Drip is currently 2-1 with wins on Sufis and then that full para win into Tony, but lost to Floss. I'm not enthused by the fact that Drip had to hex Tony to beat the Tailwind team. That didn't like, I didn't love that. But Stories has looked like not as strong as I thought she was going to be. Like, I rate Stories higher than I think what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I think um, Stories definitely has the potential to bring a really weird but strong team and win it. But Drip's kind of also got that same off the wall building style. I think purely just based on kind of who I think will win, it'll probably be Stories, but I think Drip stands a really good chance. It'll be a good match, I think.
Anything else said?
Mm.
I would lean Stories. I would lean Stories.
I agree. I think Drip kind of hasn't had the best season so far.
Yeah, seems good to me. I am fine with bolding Stories. Gum Lambo. Gum, traditionally very, very, very good at SS and actually likes it, but Lambo's had like a okay 2-1 with their loss being having absolutely nothing for Claydol. Like that happens sometimes. Gum is 2-1 with their only loss to OBB though, which is also pretty respectable. I actually think this is probably pretty evenish. I'm still inclined to lean Gum a little bit, but I think it's like not that far apart.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're both really good at
Yeah, I mean,
SSGs.
because like Lambo mostly lost last week because of the fucking cheese Claydol.
Yeah, he was not very happy about that one, I think. I think uh, Lambo is pretty underrated. But again, like Gum is Gum, so it's hard to kind of bet against them. Um, but I do think the matchup's pretty even. I think it could go either way. Both really good players.
Yeah. Okay. Gondra versus Esterossa. Gondra, 1-1, had a sugar win, had that like getting crit versus BT Boy, and then was busy last week. Esterossa has been looking like fine. I didn't like their week 1 team when I beat them. They had like a camera ups, but then their next 2 wins versus Tom and AJ were like perfectly fine. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
think Esteros is really good. Um, but Gondra's had a good showing. I mean, Esteros did really well with the team that they've kind of been spamming as well, which kind of says a lot about their skill level.
yeah. I don't know. It's been weird. I do feel kind of evenish on them. I do rate Gondra pretty highly as just like a general pilot if they can bring something good into Esta. Um,
I think Gondra is like a better player, but Essa is definitely better at this specific tier.
yeah, that's the thing. We can give it to Esta. Eternal Spirit versus Watashi. Watashi's 0-3. Uh, Yikes. Not good. Just has not been performing well at all. Haven't loved anything that they've brought or done. I do think they've used some old stuff. It hasn't all been new, but some of it has been. I don't think it's looked that great. Um, yeah, I don't know what's going I have no idea what's going on with that slot. I'm not gonna lie. And then you have Eternal Spirit who has like a 1-1 and their win is that like incredibly stupid Ishtar game where like 50 things went wrong. So they're also a little bit off right now. Uh, I don't know, man.
Pretty go Eternal Spirit just based on I think Watashi's performances have been weird, especially against us. Uh, that stall team was not it, in my opinion.
On the bright side, we can say this prediction might not matter for scores because there's probably going to be a sub.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'm pretty.
Gama will play this week. I think I have a good feeling that he'll play one. Hopefully not at like 2 in the morning this time.
We
Maybe
can
he'll
hold.
write. He'll write now, like he did with Ruffles.
Look, they're both good pilots, and Gama's been bringing better stuff. So tough ones. We have Excel versus Cow in black and white. Cow. Excel was 0-2 and then had to sub out. But the O2 was into LPZ and TAC, which is like fine. Like they're the two top players in the pool, so it's not necessarily the worst. And who knows if they would have won if they didn't have to sub out. Uh, in the meantime, Cow is 0-2, and the one time they had to sub out, they also um had a loss. Real FV did not beat Tizio, so these are two players real uh real down bad for a win right now. And I'd probably favor Cal a
Cell in
little
a
bit based
very
on teams,
similar
but
situation to Strap, honestly, where it's just you got the hardest possible run out the gate, and then you're kind of just having to recover from it.
That's true for Excel, but I also have like Cow's teams and plays and stuff a little bit better. So it's a little awkward.
I think Cal's probably also kind of desperate for a win at this point. I think they're now 0-7 if you combine their PUBD and PUPL. So
Gosh, yeah, they had a
maybe
bad
they'll
lead.
bring some extra fire this week.
So do you want to go with Excel or
I think Excel. Yeah. Although, yeah, I think it'll be a close match. I don't know. A lot of these matchups are really difficult to to predict. To be honest, some of them are quite bizarre.
yeah, a lot of people on these teams like really looking for some wins, especially the Lakers just have been struggling. Speaking of looking for wins, almost done. We have SFG Frank Josh, SFG with an 0-2 into TJ and Beats Black, and once getting subbed out for Real FV, whereas
I'm gonna go with Frank Josh here.
yeah, Frank
SFG, I
Josh.
don't think I've not been impressed with their team compositions, to be honest.
Oh, Frank Josh is actually 2-1, but I think they're doing worse. Yeah, I think Frank Josh just looked a lot better.
Yeah, I didn't even know SFG played the tier. So yeah.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough. Almost done. We got two more left. We have ADV Violet River versus Steppy themselves. Violet River, with a very weird 2-1. I'm not like super impressed, but it's not been like terrible either. Just kind of a weird performance so far. And then you have Steppy. Where's Steppy? Please No Step is 2-1, and their only loss is Lily, but their wins are Orist and Milky, who have both been not doing so hot. In general, I'd give this the Step.
Yeah, I think Steps on fire at the moment. They got a bit lucky in one game, but
Steps been doing a lot better, and like Violet's
yeah.
been getting wins, but also I really feel like after that Par game, they've just kind of been getting away with murder.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep. Sounds good to me. Lastly, we have the 0-3 Sensei Haikyuu. I have no idea what's going on with him. And Larry, who is 0-2, also been having just a tough tour.
Yeah, I
Well,
I
okay. I do want to
am
ask. I
inclined
do
for
want to
Larry.
ask. Since we have the manager here, if Boof is available, who is providing Ryan with teams?
SV, it's been kind of like a variation between different people. SS. If you want me to be honest, the SS and SM side, I trusted Hex and Gum, so I have not been paying that much attention to it. But I have faith in Ryan. I think he'll win this week. Um, yeah, he can definitely come back because I don't think he's been playing like bad in his SS and SM games. SV, I feel like he probably is still not used to it yet, which is fine, I think.
I will admit he has gotten some pretty terrible matchups too. Like Seraph's fished him pretty hard week one.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. That was unfortunate. I think Larry will do it. I don't
I
know
don't.
why.
These players are both not doing so hot, so I'm kind of like whatever on either of them.
We could VS it. We could just go for the middle ground.
Yeah, sounds like none of us are super convinced.
Yeah, I'm not as well.
1, 2, 4. That's like a slight edge to pranksters, but that's 5-4 with one versus. So I'll give them like this.
Yeah.
I think that does for our predictions cast a lot of interesting ones, but then just like a lot of people really weird going into each other. I don't feel like the other week's predictions have been this weird and hard, but yeah, there's our summary. Goobers over Foxes and three potential ties. Okay, we did a good job. We totally owned the rankings. Thanks everyone for showing up. And I have no idea if we'll do this for any other weeks, but we did at least once, and that's something.
Maybe when the matchups are a little bit, maybe for playoffs, that could be fun.
Yeah, maybe.
sure.
We will see. But for now, goodbye, everybody.